Hello there, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on another Tuesday afternoon. It's actually bright and sunny here today, so I'm happy even though it is very cold out. I hope that you guys are having some sunshine wherever you are and you're having a good day. I'm very excited about today's conversation. I have Ari Lownstein on, and I'm going to let him do most of the talking on this one because we have some big news to share with you in case some of you haven't heard, and I think he'll be able to explain it better than I could by far. But we're going to jump into this conversation. Let's bring Ari in. Hi, Ari.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you? Thank you so much for joining us today.
Happy to be here.
Absolutely. Okay, so first we're going to start off, and we're going to kind of slowly bring our viewers into the big news that we want to share and talk about. But first I'd like to start with a little bit about you and your background. Can you tell us about all of your background?
Sure. Originally from Rhode Island. Was studying to be a high school physics teacher. At a certain point had an existential crisis, left the country, went to live in Israel for a while, and then I went to live in Italy. I lived in Rome for 10 years, which is how I got into the gift business. I ran a company that worked with over 100 artisans from Sicilia to Alto Adige, working in ceramics and terracotta and handmade paper and jewelry and all the beautiful materials that Italian artisans make. And we made these for the museum market. So we worked with museums all over the world. It was pretty exciting. We had our own stores in airports before 9/11, but it was exciting. I went from being a high school physics teacher, aspiring to be a high school physics teacher, to business development manager for this company. Then I lived in Ireland. Then I came back to the States. Eventually became a sales manager up at Clear Solutions, a display company in Vermont. And then I was the intergalactic business development manager for the Unemployed Philosophers Guild. That was actually on my business card. But so I've been working in gift since 1996, and it's been exciting.
And you are a worldly man. You have lived in some areas that I would dream to live. And of course, Italy. I love Italy. I'm half Italian, so you got me right there. So okay, that went through all of that. How did you?
Sure.
That's how you got into the business and everything. How did you get to where you are today?
Sure,
with Brandwise.
Brandwise. In 2016, I, with a partner, hung out my shingle, consulting manufacturers, which was very successful. And in that, I've had a few different opportunities to kind of work within the industry. I've been president of the Gift Sales Managers Association, on the board of the Museum Store Association, and a number of other groups. And so always tried to have a broad industry view first and foremost. Around the end of 2018, I started looking at the online B2B platforms that were, starting to get some traction. Although they've been tried for years, really wasn't until the end of 2018 that they started having an impact. It started being noticed, certainly by the mainstream gift industry. And if disruption's happening, I either want to be causing it or I want to go to the source of it fairly quickly because I want to be in the know and I want to understand it. So I started looking at these different marketplaces, talking to them, talking to my partner and I. We kind of set it up as a speculative project, right? We set it aside almost like it was a client. We dedicated real time to understanding what it was and what they were doing. And along the way, we kept saying to each other, Brandwise should do this. Brandwise should do this. Brandwise is trusted. Brandwise has the customers. Brandwise has the data. Brandwise has. So I finally sat down with the owners of Brandwise, Todd and Janetta Litzman, and I said, you guys should do this. And they said, well, Ari, we are. And I said, oh, really? And I then said, can we work with you? And here's what we can do. So started out as consultants, and then I was the director of communications, and now I've recently been named, quite excited to be their chief strategy officer. So I am, I think I should probably go back a little bit. When I was at the Unemployed Philosophers Guild, I was there for 5 years, and we had great success. We tripled the business in those 5 years, and it was really successful. And the reason it was successful was because of salespeople. engaging the sales reps across the country, a wonderful working relationship, and I saw very quickly that the importance is there. The importance of there's a lot of great product. There are a lot of great companies that make a lot of great product, and when you're trying to capture a moment, capturing that moment of that customer, that consumer, and the retailers watching this will know. A consumer walks into a store with a penguin under his arm. A consumer walks into a store and is looking to maybe they know what they're looking to buy, maybe they know who they're looking to buy it for, or maybe they're just there. But that moment of capturing that product at that price for that person, that Venn diagram, right, is very specific. And the importance of the salesperson is that they're doing that one step before, understanding that store and understanding all that. So I very quickly understood the value of that, and I leaned in and started working really closely with the salespeople, with my sales reps across the country, and that catapulted the business that had been around for probably 20 years before that, suddenly, but over 5 years tripled in size. So what I appreciate about the Brandwise model is that the salesperson, that connective tissue, is what keeps it all going. Product is absolutely important. If there isn't anything for them to sell, if it can't ship, it's not the right price, not packaged well, obviously nothing can happen. But the better sales are made when a salesperson is involved. And we'll get into that a little bit. I think we get into that a little bit further. But I was excited to be at Brandwise because of what they were doing and what the model was. And that architecture, the way Todd and Janetta designed this, really does keeps everyone doing their job and helps them do it better, yes. which is what Brandwise's real goal is.
Yeah, and so for those of you that may have missed several episodes ago, a few months ago now, we had Todd on the show, and Todd is one of the co-founders of Brandwise, and we talked about Brandwise, and at that time we talked about Brandwise Passport, which is a newer thing. Brandwise has been behind the scenes in this industry for a very long time. We have personally worked with Brandwise since the start of our business, so for 10 years, and they have been a critical part of our business, doing all of our back end and getting all of the orders to the vendors to be processed, and all of the vendors work with it in their processing elements. It is a very integral system that is widely used across our industry and has been for a long time. But many of the retailers and buyers have never known,
Sure.
what Brandwise is. Some of them have gotten to know Brandwise as they work more and more with their reps, and they just know that that's what their reps are
Sure.
doing on their iPads and all of these things. But they've never worked with Brandwise themselves. And then Brandwise started this passport, which was the first step for the retailers to start to have a relationship directly with Brandwise. And if you don't have a passport yet, please jump into it.
Sure.
It is something that every retailer needs to have, and most of the rep groups across the country work with Brandwise, so you'll actually need to have a passport anyway. Yeah. And with what we're going to be talking about, you'll need a passport to access this too. So all of that to say that we obviously believe that Brandwise is very involved and needed in our industry, and has had a long relationship of working with salespeople, which also means that they get to hear us all the time talk about our frustrations with technology, adapt things to help the salespeople, the retailers, all of those things. They're not just tech people that are behind this computer doing what they
Sure.
think is right. They're actually listening and hearing to our side of the story and the retailer side of the story, and adapting to what they're learning. that the industry needs as far as ultimately for the retailers. So tell us a little bit more about what Brandwise is getting themselves into.
What we have now, yeah. So the passport is as Phil said, it's a single sign-on, and it like a passport, it gives you access to lots of places, like and sales, for example, to go onto their site and place orders with their lines. What we know, which is indisputable, is that buyers work with their sales reps, they work with their salespeople, they appreciate them, they count on them, and they know that they're going to have better results when they order with them. We published an article, which I believe we're going to share the link on, that talks about how an order that involves a salesperson has a 70 to 80% chance of there being a reorder versus an order that's just placed through an online portal, just straight up. What does that mean? That means the product sold. Let's just get to the basics. It means for the retailer, the product sold, okay, and they're reordering it, which means it worked. Why? What is it that the salesperson brings? Well, the salesperson brings local knowledge. The salesperson's trained on that line, and they bring local knowledge. They know what the AI doesn't know. Are you by the sea? Are you in the mountains? Is it a small boutique? Is it a big store? Can you drive to the store? Is it the summer? Is it the winter? What's the state flower? What's the state bird? What are the local colors of the football team? All of this local information, plus what else is in the store? What's in the store across the street?
Yes.
All of these things, plus they know what's selling well for that line, not just based on an algorithm. Amazon knows as a consumer, I like this shirt and I like these shorts, chances are they're going to recommend a pair of shoes to me that I'm going to like, because 10,000 other middle-aged men did the same. And so there we are. But each store is much more dynamic. And even if they had all of the data, it wouldn't necessarily mean they'd make the right suggestion. Salespeople have a real vested interest in whether or not that product, those precious dollars, especially today, those precious dollars that you decided to spend on that, buying blue instead of orange, that was a good decision and that someone is going to buy that. The salesperson knows also because they're not just selling you that line, they're selling you all these different lines. And you trust them. And that's the value.
And also, salespeople have usually they have the actual product knowledge. They've seen the product several times, from selling the product, actually in showrooms and whatnot, to seeing the product come in their stores. And, the honest truth is that sometimes you can have a fantastic line and there are a couple items in the line that unfortunately just, the quality is slightly off, or other stores have tried it and they're just not good movers. Those are things that a computer can't tell you of, or won't tell you that, hey, the quality on this item is below your standard, things like that. Whereas the reps, that is part of their job, as well as knowing what's actually shipping right now, if you need. Sure.
And the rep also knows, your salesperson also knows what worked for you last year.
Right.
They said, well, remember you did so well with the hummingbird, napkins, right? So, I think this is the same customer, like that kind of knowledge. So the passport gives the retailer a link into this ecosystem, but in that ecosystem, it gives them an opportunity to work with and sales, to work with all the other agencies, and now Brandwise is introducing, it's going to be the first part of 2021, Big Map, BIGMAP, not the sandwich from the fast food joint, but so Big Map is the Brandwise Global Marketplace, and what we see is that what we know, getting back to the buyers. They have also, though, as individual consumers, been trained by Amazon to want to find new product in a place where they can look for everything. So this is, it's not necessarily if you can't beat them, join them, but it's partially that. If a retailer, when you as a buyer, so speaking to the buyers out there, when you as a buyer hear about something and you want to get it, I need a left-handed smoke shifter. Now, you might pick up the phone and call your favorite 4 or 5 salespeople and say, do you carry left-handed smoke shifters? You might, and that's a great place to start. You can go to the websites of your agencies and look for a left-handed smoke shifter. But most likely, you're going to put into your search bar left-handed smoke shifter. One of the first listings is going to come up is going to be Amazon, right? Because Amazon pays the most for any searches like that. And as a consumer, you'd go find it there. The reason why these large B2B global sites have worked so well is because they've offered that experience at wholesale. They have thousands of brands, they have millions of products, and because as consumers, we're all trained to be able to just say, I want to know what it is, I look it up. I want to know, the last 10 movies that Anthony Quinn made, I look it up. I've decided I've fallen in love with Madeline Stowe, I want to see all of her movies, I look it up. So because we're all consumers, we know that that's how retailers want to find product. Yeah. We know that's how they want to find product. So the experience that we're giving them is we're giving them an opportunity to find that product while still integrated with the salespeople. So Big Map will have millions of products on it. It will have thousands of lines on it. But it also will, when that order is placed, when you find a new product, that order is going to be routed to the salesperson that supplier has identified for that territory. So what does that mean? That means that they're trained on that line. That means that they know your territory, probably your town, and maybe your store. So when I talked about Big Map with Denise Willis from Gifted Deck, the editor-in-chief, and I said, we have a press release coming out, we're going to put this forward, and I started, she said, Ari, wait, stop. And she said back to me, she said, so the retailers are going to have the online experience of searching through thousands and thousands and thousands of lines. And when they find something they like, they're going to be put together with a salesperson that was trained on the line and knows their territory, knows their town, maybe knows their store. I said, yes. She said, this is of huge value to our readers. The readers are the retailers. So that's the point. The point is that this marketplace is different. What's different? It had same discoverability, thousands of lines, millions of products. All of that will be there, and that's drawing on the Brandwise ecosystem. But the difference is going to be that the salespeople are absolutely involved in this, and they're going to be the ones that are working with you. So we're very excited. Our partners, the agencies and the salespeople, this is a marketplace that was built for them. For the retailers, but really built for them, because what we want discovery happening as you might as a retailer if you're going to a huge show, but even better, right? You're walking into a trade show, but more importantly, you can do a search for Blue Pony. You'll be able to search across all the lines at once. It's got, the functionality I won't get into, but let's just say all the features and bells and whistles will be there, but the basic strategic difference is we're going to help you make that sale a better sale by having a salesperson involved.
Yep. So you can still be online doing your research and your shopping at 2 a.m. in your pajamas if you're one of those, one of those business people. And yet the next day, the next morning, your rep can still, open their computer and see what you're interested in and pick up the phone and talk to you about it and say, hey, maybe we should make some adjustments, or maybe let me make some of these suggestions. Let me tell you what the best sellers are, because you kind of miss some of the best sellers. Let's
add $30 to that sale so you can get a special that's going on right now. Let's, the other beauty is that when you put in the order, it's going to show you the name of the rep. It's going to give you their phone number and their email address. So you could also, start working with them. When you're ready. We feel that what we're doing here is we're preserving value. In this, there are a lot of reasons why salespeople are important, and all of them are strengthened and preserved and leveraged in doing this, which brings more value to suppliers for sure. Brings more value to retailers, and it keeps the salespeople in the game, which we know makes for better business.
Well, and also you're also giving retailers the ability to really save time and money too, because you are saving them time by putting them in connection with somebody that can help their sales by giving them, like the best sellers, or saying, hey, that item is a little bit under standard, or things like that. So they're, saving them time by having to learn the hard way what, isn't necessarily going to work.
Well,
and you're also saving them money because, if you're bringing in bestsellers and things that are going to move off the floor faster, then you're saving them the money and circulating that money quicker through their store.
And it doesn't cost the retailer anything. This is, if it's a $10 product, it's a $10 product, right? The suppliers have budgeted for salespeople, and what's interesting is those other marketplaces, the disruptors, the interlopers, they're claiming that sales commission. They're claiming that same amount, saying we're delivering the same value, which we know statistically isn't true. There's the article that we'll share will really show that difference. It's a 25 to 30% reorder rate if there isn't a salesperson involved. I mean, that's really, really, really low. That means that only 1 in 3 times does the product sell. That's terrible. So the salesperson involved, you get that better sale. And through the passport, the other convenience is that through the passport, the retailer is going to have all of their order history from all of their Brandwise powered salespeople. However they placed an order, they placed their order directly with them, whether they did it through the agency's site, whether they do it through Big Map. It's all going to be in one place. We're trying to address the fragmentation, which is really. We talk with retailers and they'll say, they'll talk to a supplier and they'll say, well, I ordered it, I just don't remember where or how. And this gives the supplier a better understanding of who their customer base is because it's not coming through as one. It gives the retailer a place to go and reference, what did I order, what was that, where did I order, how did I order it? All of that's in the passport. So we're pretty excited. I'm excited about this mainly, or one of the main reasons is that I like a level playing field. I care about fair, things being fair, right? Actual fair, not the other one. But what I like about it is that, we're all going to compete, which is fantastic, right? Candle companies are going to compete with each other. Plush companies are going to compete with each other. But what this does is this gives a way for everyone to compete with less inefficiencies out there in the system, without these forces these entities that are coming in just kind of being opportunistic, but not really preserving the value. And I'm all about preserving value and using the resources that exist. This is one of the things that's so key. Using the resources that exist, and that's people will invite me over to their house to cook for them. I learned to cook in Italy, so if you know me and I'm in your city, invite me over. With a mask. Anyway, so I'll be at their house, and they'll say, well, let's go out to dinner. And I'll say, well, let me just see what you have in your pantry. Let me see what you have in your refrigerator. They say, well, we don't have anything. I said, let me see that. 3 courses later, we've had an amazing meal. Why? Because we worked with what was there. So for us at Brandwise, we're working with the extraordinary ingredients that are already in the pantry. Talented retailers that are finding a way to sell things, suppliers that are coming out with great product, and salespeople who are making sure that the right product gets to the right retailer so that they can sell it. And that's, for me, that's kind of why I find this so exciting.
Yeah, and 2, great points to have too is just to throw this out there, Passport, because I know we keep on mentioning that's kind of your entryway into all of these things. But the best thing about Passport, guys, is that it is one login. You only, if you are one of those people that has a hard time remembering your login information and your, which email did I use and which password did I use and all of those things, this is minimizing it down to you have, this one set of login information that works on all of these rep group sites and Big Map, so it's actually far less confusing. And it
works on your phone, it works on your iPad, It works on your TV, it works on your computer, it works on all kinds of things.
Yeah, it works on all of the devices. And I'm going to throw this one out there. I'm sorry I didn't prep you for this one.
That's okay.
Do you have any idea how many vendors you have, how many brands are going to be on Big Map to start off with? Within
the Brandwise ecosystem, we have about 3,700. And keep in mind that global marketplaces are references. We have 7,000 brands, we have 13,000 brands. While we love small makers and we believe that Big Map is going to be a great tool for them, the Brandwise suppliers are going to be ones who have, let's probably say, a little bit more of a sophisticated infrastructure in terms of, if they're working with salespeople, in terms of getting product, having product, and that. We believe that we're going to be a mecca for smaller makers, for sure. But we have 3,700 in our ecosystem. So far, I believe over 1,000 of them are already part of the 2.0 system. That number is going to continue to accelerate. So it's already millions of SKUs. We set up a small, this architecture is also great for associations. So we've signed the Museum Store Association, the Greeting Card Association. We just signed on with the Canadian Gift Association, because the Passport system basically enables us to create these marketplaces very quickly and efficiently. So we will have, my prediction is, by the end of next year, it'll be well north of 2,000. But anything past a certain number, there's going to be millions of SKUs in there. So it's exciting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and a lot of these lines that you have up there are massive lines that, that are great at rolling out product and shipping and, doing all those things. Yes, I'm so excited about it. And is there anything else that you feel that the retailers should know about how this works, how they can, what they need to do
to do now?
Yeah.
Sure. Well, if you're watching this, you're a retailer, you should create your passport. You can do that in a lot of different ways. You can go to Ann Sales, you go to Brandwise, and you create a passport. We'll walk you through it. You should certainly start using that passport to shop now with your local agency for sure. You can go to bigmap.net. It'll take you to a link where you can put in your information to get more information. I think that's probably, for right now, and watch the space. And good luck the next few weeks. We hope you all knock it out of the park, and we have a great, 2021.
Yes. And I'm going to throw another one out there at you, because this was just talked about. Show season's coming up. What are your thoughts? Do you think that you think shows are going to be busy?
Well, I love trade shows. So
I do too. We were just saying. I do too.
The personal part of me, because it's where I go to see.
Especially in January.
We're kind of like carnies, that do shows. One year I did 41 trade shows, in 6 different countries, and you see everyone, and a lot like carnies. You set up, you do your performance, you take down. So I long for the shows to return. I think that the realities of vaccines and all of that are going to determine a lot of it. We know that the shows, many of the shows are setting up to go. Yeah. What I think is so exciting is to see how suppliers and agencies and retailers have all worked really hard to adapt. I think that the digital online is going to be a companion to anything that we do going forward. For sure, that's only going to increase. And when the shows are there, I think this will strengthen it, because I think that retailers will have an opportunity to do research, ahead of time, to be able to see, this is what I want to go and see and touch. So I think that their time at the shows will be more efficient, and they'll be able to access information quickly. They'll be able to look at a line, pull it up on their phone, see all kinds of, get all kinds of information, and then perhaps ask questions. So I'm excited about it. Do I think that they'll happen in January? Well, they're scheduled, and we'll see. I think that this summer shows are going to be the ones where we'll all get to go out and have a glass of wine together. That's what I think. Yeah,
I look forward to that, as I'm sure everyone does. Okay, well, this is the time of my show I get to throw out my 3 final questions at you. So,
yes.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. I'm going to start with, what is your favorite book, podcast, or blog?
Well, a book is going to be a cookbook. It's funny, people say, how did you learn to cook? And I learned to cook by going down to my market in Rome and saying, che cos'è, come si prepara, what is that, how do you make it? But cookbooks, if you can follow instructions, you can make anything. So I have a few favorites. One that I count on is Butterfingers, which is a cookbook from the 1970s that the sisterhood at my synagogue put together. And it's everyone's name is at the bottom of the recipe. And I swear the recipes in there are, Fantastic. So there it is. You can't get it. It's not in print.
Oh. Well then. All right, but I do agree. I am somebody that needs to follow a recipe. My husband can open a cabinet and just
Sure.
make things. I need to follow a recipe. That's why I prefer baking.
There you go.
But, all right, what is the most important thing in your toolbox?
Well, if it's a physical toolbox, it's a sharp chef's knife, which is essential for cooking.
Yes.
If it's my toolbox for how I navigate and how I do my work, I think I tried to reference earlier. It's that you're looking for what the resources are and how to use them. So that I think the most important thing in my toolbox is that I am always looking at what is there as opposed to what's not. But what is there, and how can we work with that to make that to get to where we need to go. So that I think that's, I don't know how that fits into the toolbox, but my brain. But it's but how you use it. I think that's most important to me.
No, that's a very good tool to have. That I often feel like not a lot of people have that. It's I can't think of the word I'm looking for. It is a specific. It's a skill. It's a skill.
Yeah, creativity wouldn't necessarily be the word because it's close to that. But that for me is the most important tool.
Yeah.
What's there? Because it's easy to find what's not.
Yeah.
And if there's a wonderful expression in Italian, tutto fa brodo, which means everything makes broth. You got some carrots, let's throw it in. You got a little thyme, let's throw it in. Let's throw it in. So we'll see what we make. But and then you make a minestrone. Okay. Now I'm getting hungry. What's the third question?
Okay, last one.
Yes.
What is something positive that's come out of the pandemic?
My girlfriend. So what was positive came out of the pandemic? I think that in terms of for our industry, these tools have existed. These tools aren't new.
Yeah,
Skype, Zoom, GoTo, all of this, and our industry has been a slow adopter of it. But this communicating in this way and creating the opportunity, the need for everyone to understand how to communicate, I think has been incredibly powerful. And that it's going to make some things more efficient. It's going to make them more elegant in a certain way. But I think that's probably a very positive thing that's come out of this is the ability to communicate. And then we'll see what comes next and how that does that. What I do believe is that when people can really get back out and feel comfortable, that shopping in a store is going to be one of the more exciting things to do because they're going to get to go and passively see all these things. So I'm also looking forward to that day.
Yeah, well, and it is a social event, Yeah. So yes, I know everyone looks forward to that. But you're right, our industry has been a little bit behind on the technology side of things, and so it has certainly been a big push that I think has advanced us technology-wise years, which was needed. So, all right, Ari. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and telling us all about Big Map. I'm so excited for it to roll out, and we're excited to keep on seeing, what Brandwise. They keep on throwing things at us, man. We're trying to keep up.
Well, we want to help everyone do their work and be successful. So I'm proud to be part of it.
We love it, and we're so thankful. Thank you again, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Go make some awesome Italian food and send it my way.
Remember, send me your address for some
I will.
Thanks so much.
Have a good one. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Now I'm hungry too. I'm definitely going to go have a really late lunch. But yes, if you have need help going back and learning a little bit more about Passport, we'll do a link on our conversation with Todd that happened a few months ago, and I will also link in some of the articles that we talked about as well. As always, you can always contact us directly or contact your local rep. We're all here to help you out with all of this crazy new technology stuff as well, and we're learning it right along with you. If there's any topics that you want us to touch on, let us know, and we're happy to do those topics as well. And with that, I hope you guys enjoy a wonderful rest of your week. See you soon.